All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Sports Podcast. And for the fourth part of the show, we are going to talk about Kevin Durant and his comments on why he kind of shut down a trade that would send him back to Golden State. So, you know, before the trade deadline, before the Warriors got Jimmy Butler, they were trying to get Kevin Durant back. And it looked like that they were going to end up getting a deal done, but then Kevin Durant kind of shut that down, and then the Warriors had to pivot, and ultimately they acquired Jimmy Butler. And yeah, it was reported that Durant really had no interest in going back to Golden State. The trade fell through, and like I said, the Warriors then they quickly pivoted and they got Jimmy Butler. So this is what Durant said. People talk crazy about me all the time. This is via ESPN. People talk crazy about me all the time. That's not the reason why I didn't want to come back. I just didn't want to get traded midway through the season. It was nothing against my time with the Warriors, or I heard because I don't like Draymond. At the end of the day, I just didn't want to move, and I wanted to see it through with my team in Phoenix and see what we could do the rest of the season. So I'm glad I'm still there. And then Steve Kerr said, I don't blame Kevin one bit for not wanting to rerun things here. He took so much blank for like, oh, you're jumping on the bandwagon. And this is, back when he signed with Golden State as a free agent in 2016. And I mean, it's almost 10 years ago that happened. Next summer, it's going to be 10 years since that happened. I remember sitting at my kitchen table. It was on the 4th of July when we got the news. And again, not a super fan when it comes to the NBA, but still, I follow it. And I like Durant. I mean, now time has passed, obviously, with the Golden State stuff, but I couldn't believe it. I was like, how could he do this? And, they won 2 championships, and they should have won 3. If Durant doesn't get hurt, if Clay doesn't get hurt, if Golden State does not get banged up in that finals against Toronto, they win that. But whatever the case may be, it happened. And yeah, so then Steve Kerr finished it off by saying, so why would he want to face all that BS again? I mean, I feel like now it wouldn't be. I feel like it wouldn't be as bad had he gone back because the Warriors are not the same team. You're not going back to, prime Steph and prime Clay and prime Draymond. You're going back to an older Steph Curry, who, I mean, is still playing really well at a high level. Draymond is not the same player, but, you know, he's still there. Um, I look, Draymond is a good player and he is a champion, but I mean, when comparing Steph Curry and Draymond Green, I mean, there is no comparison. And there's no Clay there. There's no Clay, there's no Andre Iguodala, there's no Sean Livingston. There's none of those guys on that team. They got a younger team. So, I don't think it would be as bad. And especially because, when you look at the standings right now, I mean, the Warriors are the 10th seed, and the Suns are on the outside looking in. Now, do I believe Kevin Durant? I guess maybe in some aspects, but I do think that he's not telling us the whole truth. I do think, he says people say it's because him and Draymond don't get along. I still think that might be a reason why. And, Kevin Durant is someone that, things do get under his skin. He does reply to people on social media. He even replied to a DM that one of my friends sent him. And you could say I'm, I'm fibbing here, but I'm telling the truth. I was going to say cap, but, am I really going to say, well, I already said it. You may think that I'm lying, but no, he actually did answer a DM that my friend sent him. Because my friend was kind of trolling, I guess, and Durant responded to him. Then they started talking about 2K. And Kevin Durant was talking about, um, destroying my friend in 2K. And I will have to see if I can get uh, the screenshots of the messages at some point. Because if someone calls me out and says I'm lying, well, I'm gonna have to get the receipts, if you will. But yeah, I just think that that has to be it. I do also agree with that, but no, he wants to see it out with the Suns. All right, but what have they accomplished? Last year, early exit. I think they got right. They got swept. Who did they play in the first round last year? Was it Minnesota? Yeah, it was Minnesota. They swept them, and now you're on the outside looking in. Really has not gone Kevin Durant's way the last couple of stops for him. Go to Brooklyn, and really their best chance was that year that, if his foot was a little bit smaller, they beat the Bucks, and they move on to the Eastern Conference Finals. And then everything fell apart. And then he ends up getting traded to Phoenix. They get Bradley Beal, but it's been a disappointment. The Suns are not that deep of a team. So, yeah, you could say you want to see it through, but the Suns, even if they get into the play-in, I mean, are you really going to expect them to do anything? I don't think so. And it's not like I think the three stars they have on their team are. I don't think Bradley Beal is having that good of a season, but you know, you need more than just three guys or three stars. They can only do so much. And the Suns, they had a chance. Their best chance was when you had Chris Paul, you had Devin Booker, you had Mikal Bridges, you had DeAndre Ayton. That year, that was their chance right there. And they lost to Giannis and the Bucks. And it's gone downhill since then. Maybe the Suns surprise us here in the second half, but I don't see it. I don't see it. I definitely could see at some point Kevin Durant is finishing his career elsewhere. You know where he would fit? I mean, I'm just throwing this out there. What if he went back to the Thunder? You bookend your career, you go back to OKC. What if he did that? Because right now, then you could say, well, now you're going back to the Thunder, and they're really good. But I don't know. I just thought I did think about that recently. Like, what if he just went back to OKC? But I don't think we're getting that. We're not getting that LeBron returning to Cleveland for Kevin Durant. If we do that, that'd be cool. But I think he is going to ultimately end up playing elsewhere. And I think if you're a team that is really trying to, you know, take that next step, Kevin Durant could be that missing piece because he could still play. It's just he can't. He's not like what he wants. He's not in his prime anymore. He's not a guy that's gonna, carry your whole team. He needs help. That's for a lot of these guys. That's for Steph Curry. That's for LeBron James. They need surrounding pieces around them. And right now, when you look at the Suns and you look at Golden State, I mean the Lakers are the fifth seed right now, but um, I mean the Warriors did go out and get Jimmy Butler, but the Suns, I mean, you're on the outside looking in. You got Bradley Beal, Booker, and KD, and Suns fans got to be losing it over that. So you know we'll see. We'll see how this second half goes for Kevin Durant. But what do you guys think? Should he have accepted the trade to Golden State? Do you agree with his decision, or how do you feel about it? I I mean, I guess if he wants to see it out with the Suns, okay. But I mean, if you still want to win, And I think going back to Golden State, I mean, Steph Curry is one of the best players that he's ever played with, and they worked so well together. I mean, I don't know if they got Kevin Durant, if the Warriors are, all the way back and going on to win a title. I mean, I think I would like a Kevin Durant to the Warriors move better than, you know, Jimmy Butler going there. But I don't know if they'd be making a deep playoff run. I think you'd still need more to add to that team. But that's just my opinion. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. So we are going to take our final break of the show now. And then when we come back, we will discuss the Chargers. So the Chargers, they will be hosting the game in Brazil next season. But now we got to figure out, or the NFL has to figure out, who should they play? Who should they play next season? And I think this game would take place in the opener again, like last season. So I'm curious to see who they end up picking. But we'll discuss the possibilities. I'll give you my thoughts on the game in Brazil. So, yeah, we'll get into all that when we come back from our final break of the show. So, for one final time today, make sure to stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Sports Podcast.